It gets cleaner as it escalates. The chaos of the early days, the improvisation, the raw fear, that burns off. What's left is structure, hierarchy, a kind of cold corporate logic dressed in leather jackets and 90s silence. You are given a task that does not involve envelopes. You don't talk about what you do. That is also a rule. But you feel it afterward in the way your hands look like someone else's hands, in the way you pour a drink and the drink goes down and nothing changes. You expected something to shift, guilt or relief or some chemical reaction in the blood. Instead, nothing. Just the knowledge that you are now a different category of person, and the knowledge that this cannot be undone. Years compress. 1993, 1994. The city is changing again. Money starting to crystallize in certain hands, structures getting more formal, violence getting more targeted, less chaos, more precision. Then, September 1994, a car bomb. Sylvester is gone. What happens next is what always happens when the apex of a structure disappears. The middle tears itself apart. Factions split from factions. Men you shook hands with become men you watch carefully in rooms. Trust, that currency you were paid in, that you paid others with, devalues overnight. You don't know which side of the split you're on until someone tells you, and then you realize you never had a choice. You pick the side that's still standing the following spring. You tell yourself it was logic, it was fear. The operations professionalize further. Less street, more arrangement. Money moving through channels that look like businesses. Men in suits in offices who are the same men who stood in gyms in 1991, just wearing a different costume. You understand now that the costume is the point. The costume says, we have arrived. We are legitimate. We are the new thing. You are 31. Your mother is still in the same apartment. You bought her a washing machine and new windows, and she asked you once, carefully, just once, where the money came from. You told her consulting. She did not ask again. The arrests come in waves. Some men run. Some men cooperate. Some men disappear in ways that are not running. A name you know, Sergei Buterin, ends in a courtroom, a life sentence, 20 killings in the record. You read it the way you would read about weather in another country, distant, real, a warning you already knew but didn't know how to stop. By now you understand the shape of it. You can see the whole arc from where you stand. Young man in a gym, one question, one word, and then 20 years of compounding consequences. You did not fall into this life. You stepped into it, and the floor held, and you kept walking because the floor kept holding, and you never looked down until it was too late to consider turning back. That is the trick of it. Nothing dramatic. No single moment where you could have stopped and known you were stopping. Just 1,000 small yeses, each one reasonable, each one logical given the last, until you look up, and the man in the mirror is wearing a history you can't return. You are alone in a way that has no cure. Not physically alone. There are always people. But alone in the way of someone who has traded every real thing, trust, peace, the ability to sit in a room without calculating exits, for a version of safety that was never real and a version of respect that was always fear. And now somewhere in a gym in Orekhovo, a man with stillness in his eyes is watching a 17-year-old unwrap his hands. He's about to ask a question. The question is always the same. You already know the answer you should give. The answer is 2 letters. The answer is the only exit that was ever on the table. Say no, walk home. Let the floor stay cold and empty and yours.